Well, counties are being asked to continue following an executive order allowing religious exemptions for vaccines after some confusion last week when State Superintendent Michelle Blatt sent a memo telling them otherwise.
Now, she later revoked it, but as Anna Saunders tells us, this has created confusion about what happens from here. And Anna, this is something that may end up in court, right?
Yes, that's where the ultimate decision could be made, as it all started with an executive order from Morrissey to allow for religious exemptions for childhood vaccines. There was an attempt to make this code this past session, but it was rejected by the House. Still, though, the executive order is in place, and that's what counties are being instructed to go by for now. It was a memo that was quickly rescinded at the request of Governor Morrissey, but in it, State Superintendent Michelle Blatt told county superintendents on Friday to continue using state code and not accept religious exemptions. This contradicted an executive order Morrissey signed back in January allowing for it. And at his direction, that memo was rescinded. Delegate Kathy Hess-Krause says Blatt's move was overreach.
We had parents who had already put in their children back into school system. They wanted their children there. They got their exemptions. The health departments were continuing to give exemptions and would continue to give as long as the executive order was in effect. And to have the State Board of Education come out and to defy that, point blank defy it, it angered me.
But some argue that the executive order itself is overreach, that it overturns state law instead of enforcing it. Senator Joey Garcia says it will take legal action to get full clarity.
The fact that there has been pushback from the governor's office, that they've rescinded this order and caused confusion is really difficult, I think, for a number of these school districts. And the only way that we're going to get beyond this is to have litigation and somebody that's brave enough to bring a lawsuit.
At this point, the State Department of Health is honoring the executive order by granting religious exemptions. Cabell County Schools so far, for example, has gotten 2 exemptions from the State Department of Health. Some private schools, on the other hand, doing their own thing. The Catholic Diocese of Wheeling-Charleston says they will, quote, continue to follow the law and not allow for religious exemptions. Chanda Adkins with West Virginians for Health Freedom applauds the executive order and wants the legislature to continue to look at ways to get into code after an attempt failed this year in the House.
We want to just encourage our legislators to hear the stories, because there's a lot of horror stories out there of people struggling to get the medical exemption, or even with the religious exemption, to get their school nurses or, just the administrative staff to hear this is the law now. But the Department of Education doesn't even have it on their website. Again, it's disheartening that parents are being put through the ringer and having, all these hardships just to get their kids into school.
For those in the medical community who oppose the exemptions, it's about continuing to educate. Pediatrician Dr. Lisa Costello says having a high immunization rate is key in keeping eradicated disease out of the state.
These viruses still exist. It's just that we have gotten through immunization good at preventing them. And as the immunization rates decline for any reason, that increases the risk of these diseases being seen in our communities again.
Now, I reached out to both the State Department of Health and the Department of Education with further questions. I am still waiting to hear back. Live in the studio, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.